Okay, so now we can actually add some functionality to our home button. Add a function at click equals go home. Okay, this function go home. We can go to our app here and just copy some of this stuff. We're gonna need our navigation and let's go import this stuff. Okay, this is a different menu index. Technically, this could just be a 0, but if you remember, we made this menu index, which is an enumeration that's in here, where Jesus is 0, M4A is 1, PLI is 2, and about is 3. It just makes it more readable. It really serves no other purpose. Um, yeah, we set these to 0 and go back to Jesus. Okay, we also need to actually change the URL and navigate there. You can go copy this stuff. Where are we at? Here it is. This stuff. That click. Oop. So we actually want to go that. Or is it the other way? Some kind of way. Was it you complaining? Router link slash Jesus? Is this not the same? Must be missing something. Oh, this colon here. Because we're not using a variable, we want it to just be a string. And in here we were using a variable and not a string, which is why we have this colon in front of it. We just get rid of this colon. Now that should go. And we got our root direction, so it doesn't pull up weirdly do that. It should basically be it. Navbar and page indexes. Okay, this is, what is this, too tall out here. This is different than when I was doing before. Okay. What if be nice if the height just auto, but it don't? I think that looks like an okay size. Let me see. 90. Okay. It's too tall. Taller than it is wide. 80. 70. I want people there, sure. I think that's fine for now. Slightly different than what we did last time. So, okay. Is this already good enough? Currently on the Jesus page. Yeah, it breaks his hair, but okay. And yeah, throws us right back to Jesus. Cool. Now we have a home button. Cool. Okay. One thing that I already know is going to be different because this whole thing is just an SVG, right? But before this was the SVG and this was text. And because of that, when things became, too small, basically, I'll just get rid of that. When things became too small, basically when it got to like Z fold flip levels, basically, well, at that point it would, actually, this might even be slightly different, but yeah, basically the text would just disappear. But this might even need to be readjusted, but we're going to replace it. I mean, there's still some problems with this SVG, right, that are bothering the shit out of me. Like under the O's right here, it's kind of messed up, all of them. And if you zoom all the way in, it's not quite perfect. But because this is one whole SVG, we're not going to be able to break it apart or change it. Well, remember how we did the photo like at media screen at a certain width, we would just change it, but we're not going to be able to do it quite the same. But really, I've only been accounting for up to a Galaxy Z Fold. I think that's like the tiniest fucking screen that you can really get, which is 344 pixels wide. And I think that if you program your stuff to be able to handle that, that you're in pretty good shape. This is pretty good. That you can, if your shit looks okay on a Z Fold, I think that's good enough. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that now. Actually, let's just go ahead and deal with this now. Um, might have to readjust it when we have our actual navigation buttons in there, but we can still get something to work with from there. So, we're gonna need two different types of buttons, basically. Just copy these, and this one is just going to be the star wolf, basically. And we'll have to decide when to display them. So we already have some at media with queries in our footers. Copy those. Copy these. Go to our home button. So I already know that I want to keep the word still visible on the Z fold, since that's the tiniest fold as far as I know. And after we get past that, then we can not care. So we can call this, um, let's see, ID equals full home button. Then we'll call this the small home button. Small home button. Okay. And we will just, uh, then the small home button. So if we're bigger with the minimum width, we'll say the full home button display, just say block, means it will display it. And the other one, we will say display none, which means that we won't display it. So now it's gone. And we'll want to do the opposite down here, none, and block. So now, when the string gets smaller, we'll automatically switch to the other button, basically. And we'll at least have something in place to deal with it. Okay. And all of the functionality is still the same. It just gonna need some different settings because that other button is way too high, way too wide. So this is the full home icon, and this will be the small home icon. So this is the full home icon, and leave one for the small one. Great. It's way too wide. 100, 77, eh, 80, nope, 60. I mean, hey, it'll just do so. Let's see if that's slightly bigger. Oh, was I seeing that? Uh, so Brave's S12, its developer tools actually does the pixels and fractions. You can see it has like a point amount, and because of that, it causes it to appear. But in all the other developer tools, it seems like they're just using whole numbers actually. So, but I mean, could just and you could make this closer. It could be 34.3.9, and then that would keep that from happening, basically. But I'm not really sure if screens that actually have, fractions of pixels. I don't think that any of them do. So they probably don't actually have to do that. Okay, I do see that this wolf was a little taller than the other one. Let's at least make them even. Uh, we tried 68. Wrong thing. Let's try 78 for the height. It's also moving in position a little bit. No, actually, it's still just bigger. Slightly smaller. 75. Without just kind of jumping in position. I think that's fine. It looks like it's just moving, but still the same position. There's some size around the button, right? So that's fine. Okay, so I think that's good enough. Okay, so we're finally ready to get our navigation buttons in there, and I'm calling the whole thing a nav bar, but these are the only navigation buttons, but yeah, whatever. If you don't want to call it a nav bar in your project, you don't have to. Naming things is hard. Okay, so if we come here and here, this is our project. Come here, go to our app. It's going to be just like our menu buttons, or we have just a list of buttons that we feed in. We'll have to do this for each page, each menu, because they all have different navigation buttons. Come to our Jesus pages, and you can paste that in. Complaining about this help circle, which don't exist. Okay, let's just copy this. Got these IDs again that we're not really using. I don't know why I called this the source button. I'm gonna call this the 110 button. Okay, label class, which will need this to control, which basically which buttons will be rainbow and which buttons won't be. Is all that's for. The first one's gonna be a rainbow. That's all that means. Label class rainbow text, and the text will be 110%. You've got mail. To turn carrot, new line, open source. Not sure if you need both of those. Maybe the slash n would have been enough, but I'll test that out. And we're also going to have a little nav text because you see this is 110 open source, but on smaller screens, it's just 110 to sort of fit into the button. I'm programming for the smaller screens. Little nav text will be 110%. And no text color here because it's going to be a rainbow. And it also seems like on this project, it's using the dark text by default. So I may not even have to really use that. But I guess we'll see. And this one only has two. It's got this, and it's got its frequently asked questions button. This is a label class, no special labels. Text will be frequently asked questions. And the little nav text will be exactly the same. We'll leave this there, but I'm not sure if we actually need that. Okay. So we will basically be feeding in these button labels and text into our nav bar as a prompt, which looks like this. And we'll have to declare the prompt. So let's go ahead and feed that in. Say nav buttons equals nav buttons. Okay. Nav buttons. Okay, now we actually have to the nav bar actually has to expect to get these. So we can go to components, nav bar, and we'll have to define a prop. So we can do define props, and that looks like this basically. And then you have quotes, and the prop is the same name. Nav buttons is then it's being fed in. So now we can feed things from each page, and it'll vary depending on which page is feeding into it. But these are the props for the component. Yeah. So now that we have those, actually, so we have our home button, theme button, menu button. We're gonna need another button inside the nav bar, which will be the nav buttons. Right? It's called nav buttons. I think nav buttons, which doesn't exist. So let's go to our nav bar. Uh, just copy the menu button, rename it to nav buttons.view. Okay. And then the nav bar. Let's make sure we do this right. We also need to import this kind of in our home button and then the nav buttons. Okay, cool. So now it's there, but we need to feed these props into this. So it's prop section going deeper and deeper. So the nav buttons will equal nav buttons, and it'll feed these in. And this will also have a prop inside of our nav buttons so that it can receive it. And then we can actually do something with it. Okay. And this will basically be like that for loop that we had. So let's just go copy that. Not quite the same, but we'll make it work. And then we'll go to our nav buttons and throw this in there. So these will be ion buttons, not a menu button. Button. Try to no icons in here. It's really just a label. Let me see. I'll just look nav buttons. This one down here, just have it in a dev with some classes. That makes sense. Okay. We put a dev around it, and then we will repeat our buttons this way. I feel like this auto hide may not be necessary. Let's see. Have it here. Let's see. If I were to just rip this out, was this doing anything? I feel like it wasn't. I feel like I might have just been copying stuff that wasn't actually necessary. Let me refresh it just to be sure. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. These buttons are never going to be hidden. Auto hide be talking about. Okay, and I'm gonna try to clean up things as much. Take out stuff that's not necessary because all it does is cause confusion, make you think you need something when you don't. We're gonna feed in these nav buttons. Okay, this index too, but I don't like that. I'll update this later. Okay, so we have nav button, nav button. Okay, and you scoot this up and over. We'll just try to get our logic in. We don't have any colors yet. We'll just have this label, which we'll need to import. And label, which is what we will fill in with our text, right? And if we go back to our Jesus page, which is nowhere to be seen, under menu, view menu, Jesus page, right? We have this buttons. There's ID, text, label class, and text. So we'll want the text. And here, so this will just be nav button dot text is what it is. That might be enough since we're not using any colors at the moment and selecting and underlining anything. I think that's actually enough. So let's just uh no item for sure. No item at all. Let's okay, cool. So we have two buttons but no text on them. Why is there no text? Okay, nav buttons dot text. Feel like that should have been enough. Oh, nav button. This is not buttons. There we go. See, now we have our buttons. Okay, so let's quickly, I guess, define buttons on all of our pages so that they have a little bit more personality, huh? Okay, so we can go back to our Jesus page, copy these buttons. We'll have to do something similar for our M4A page. I'm just looking at it and can't remember every time. It's way too much. Eh, way too much. Let me tell you about it. Yeah, I think M4A has the most buttons. Okay, so now we go to our M4A page. We can do something similar, right? Um, that's fine. That's fine. That's the same. We have a treasury button. This treasury little map. One, two, three more buttons. And three. We got our Q button. Left a percent on this thing, right? Okay, our Q button. Our map button. We call it claims and map, I guess, when it's small with a slash on it. Might change it later, see how I'm feeling. Map these claims, nega, and market button. Market, markets. Okay. So now we got that. Let's just go ahead and get more buttons in there. Do the same thing for our about page. Sheesh. Uh, about page. We've got an about button. No 110 here. That might change, but it's not like that at the moment. Uh, the- about about stats, and I guess I also don't really care for that. This isn't how I would do my ID, but it was so long ago when I did this in the beginning. Yeah. So my conventions weren't so solid of what I really wanted to do. Yeah, stats, year two, year two, bugging the shit out of me. Okay, I won't correct that until later. Do that off screen. Okay, stats and stats, about, and only one more, the admin. Admin button, just admin, admin. Okay, go ahead and fix these. Fix. Fix is not the right word, is it? Okay, PLI. What do you got? PLI has four buttons. And just copy these. Go to PLI. Add those buttons here. 110 button. The same. Did I? Where's the treasury at? I fucked something up. treasury market map and queue. M4A is missing its treasury, or it must have killed it some kind of way. Mm. Uh, treasury, no copy this. Treasury button missing. Okay, PLI. Okay, heartbeat. Heartbeat button. Heartbeat. It's hard, I guess, on the little nav. We got our pads button. Pads. Pads. Okay. Guess we'll see how that goes. You complain about anything? Okay, so we'll have to do like we did on the Jesus page. We just gotta feed it in. About Ray PLI and we see, is that enough? Cool, and that's enough. So now we've got um some personality on our menu pages. Okay, I renamed those 110 buttons to 110 and spelled it out because if you recall from our HTML text ID where we had before, you can't actually have an ID start out with the number or it causes issues. So yeah, just wanted to quickly undo that on all the pages. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get in our colors. So in order to do that, we're going to have to start adding in some colors to our color.css. So let's just go ahead and do this finally. Okay, it's out of here. Okay, ion color yellow. So now I'll have a yellow color and it will be this color. Gonna need to do the same thing for green, gray, and blue. Green, blue, and the gray for the about page. Go ahead and get these colors. Gray. Okay. Um, and green. We also have to define, actually, this is slightly different, classes for them. We might use these later, but we really just need these. So define that. We really need just these from now. Might need these later, I would think, is why I had them, but we'll see. Going to the project for a second time, things change. Ion color yellow, and that's ion color vase, a very low bar, and we want our yellow in there. Okay, do the same thing for our green, blue, and gray. Green, blue, and gray. Blue, green. Okay, so now we have those colors defined. Now we can actually feed them in our pages. So if we go to our Jesus page, go check here as well, and we'll just get the color for the button, which is just a constant color name we have. Constant color name. I this definitely does not have to be a ref. I'm pretty sure this does not have to be a ref. So when you add refs and you don't need them, it makes your application slower. So you don't want to have reactive things that don't need to be reactive, that's for sure. So this was a mistake. Let's go ahead and confirm that and fix it. So a color name. Cool. And we will feed this color name into our navbar equals color name, and we'll have to define this prop in our navbar, comma, and go feed it into our nav buttons so that it has access to them. Okay, and now we go to our nav buttons. Also got to define that here. This color name. We have color name because sometimes you want a hex value. Not in this case. You need it for something else. But later. Okay. I thought that I put the V4 in that, but I guess I never moved it. Color name equals this. Let's see. Already there and not doing anything, but oh, color. What am I doing? Okay, let me see. I did have this here, but it seems like it doesn't matter because it's just V4 and all of the buttons anyway. Kudos. Okay, and that actually, well, don't actually want it to be that way. Seemed like it was better the way it was, but let's see what's different. Nav buttons, color name, color, button dot text color. Okay, no, that's not it. Color coding. Okay, I guess we have to add a colon because it's a variable and not a string. You'd think I would know better. Like, what the hell? Yeah, but apparently not. I'm still a dumbass. Okay, so we did that. Need a colon because we're feeding in a variable. We don't want it to be treated like a string. Okay, cool. So now we got some color. So we can do the same thing. But yeah, no, it definitely, the color name does not have to be reactive. So that should speed up the project a little bit and be a little less dumb. Okay, other pages. So we got this color name defined. I'm gonna go do the same here. M4A should be green. PLI should be blue. And about should be gray. Now we can feed these in. We should be good. Feeding and a variable. So maybe use a colon. Makes sense. About and array, navbar, and PLI. Okay, that should get us some color. Cool. Now you've got color on our buttons, and that is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. Okay, let's give a proper shape to these buttons. Button, give it a class. Maybe just throw this down. Tab. Okay. Whatever. Down here, class equals nav button. Okay. That nav button. And let's make it the same. Should be like this. Uh, Give it a width of 96 px. Height of 65 px. Water spacing 0 px. I, okay, cool. And margin, I guess, to have some space in between them. Margin of 7 px. I was a lucky number. Okay, add some space. Cool, so now, why wouldn't all of them be shaped that way? Okay, gotta refresh. So there. Gotta refresh. The killing me smiles. Okay. Um, let's go ahead and get our selected in there for when we actually have a button selected and put some color on it. Looking at that, it's very similar to our app thing where we basically add a class to it, right? If the index, the speak index, like the better than I shouldn't be updating the old code like this, but anyway, it's just like our app, right? Where we have a selected button and a class gets slapped on it, basically. So if we go to our app, um, we'll have this basically the same. And then we go to nav buttons. We have a selected class. We'll have to import the navigation. Um, go import that as well. Don't care about the menu index, just care about the navbar index, which we'll have to get this navbar index and the class be like selected navbar, was it? I think selected navbar index and navigation.navbar index. Okay. If selected, I guess it could still be uh, selected since this is scope. It really doesn't have to be that descriptive. It could just be selected. So, mm, so we'll say ion button that selected if it has that class on it because we applied if the index matches. Um, we're gonna want to add some border shadow to it, basically, right here. I guess we have to underline it as well. Okay. Right here, if it's selected, text decoration tab, underline the text decoration color will be bar and it'll be ion light instead of dark because we're doing the opposite of dark. Light. Okay, the thickness of the line. Oh, there it is. It's underscore text decoration thickness. 2 pixels, thicker line, and then we can border radius. I guess this is for the light that we're gonna add to it. Border radius, 12 pixels. And the last thing is the box shadow, which we'll have to feed in as a prop, just like we did for the color name. And this is some parameter that I don't remember off the top of my head what they do exactly. But yeah, they affect the border shadow, like which one does what, but we can mess with them and we'll clearly see that. And the vine is what you can use for actual variables. For var, these are for CSS variables, but for variables from the TypeScript / JavaScript, it's TypeScript. But you have to use vvine for that. Button shadow. So this will have to be a prop. Right? We'll feed this n to the nav buttons, which has to be fed into the nav bar. Put it here. Okay. So this is the same. And we got to also feed this in from the pages. All the pages need to feed it in. Just go ahead and take care of that. And then we go and can define those. So Jesus page, the button of the box shadow is the goldenrod color. Constant shadow equals goldenrod. This is just a standard CSS name. There it is, right there. Okay. M4A is light green. Light green. KLI is sky blue. And about is a light gray color. Light gray. So now they should all have colors for the selected. If it were actually selected, but we need the nav bar to change when we click on one of these to set the nav bar to the index, which would be pretty easy to do. Not even can go ahead and not think about it and just do it, and then I'll see how different it is. So we have our button. We're gonna say that click equals set. Yeah, that's probably not what I named it, but damn you and your auto naming. Who did this? Is that Copilot picking names for me? Oh, oh, you say set nav bar index, and I'll just see what I named it. And this index will just be the index that we clicked on, all right? Okay. And now we can go make a function for it. Um, function. This is a number. It's going, and we also want to save it to local storage as well, so that when you refresh your lead, close the browser and reopen it, it'll still be the same. Let me see. Who to copy? This is good enough. Give me this stuff. Nav buttons. What you do? Could say navbar index. Navbar index. Keep that in. Okay. That's what this should be. Actually, why you complain? Navbar is right here. Or is it the other way around? Am I confusing myself? I say you define the type after. Dang, what's wrong with me? This is a number, not a type. There we go to navbar index. We just want to save it. So now I think that's enough. There we go. Cool. And actually, I think this is backwards. This should actually be the light colors and not the dark colors. But we also got to get a rainbow on there as well, which we haven't even defined our rainbow text, but let's just go ahead and do that. I think that's just as simple as coming to the label, putting color, just say light. Why did that not work? Damn you. Bro. Okay, listen to that. That isn't it. Or is it backwards? Is it supposed to be dark? It is. Okay, it is. Okay, never mind. Um, yeah, okay. So that is right. Um, okay, so I had that backwards. So yeah, dark changes that way. But if we were to do light instead, it should be the opposite. Now it's this way. But yeah, we actually wanted it to be dark. There we go. That makes sense. Okay, so quickly going back to the box shadow before I forget, I think that this is like X and Y offsets. Let's see. If we do 20 here, yeah, that is an X offset. And if we do 20 here, that is a Y offset. And you do negative, it would go in the opposite direction. Just to plan that, this was one's like intensity and one's like roundness. Okay, one's like blurriness. And this one's like roundness, I think. Like, or something. Let me see. Five. Uh, or I guess it's how big it is. This one's blurriness, and this is how big it is? Hold off a. Okay, yeah, way bigger. And this one's like way blurrier. So just before I forget and I still never come back to it, I figure, was this an 8, right? Okay, so now we know what they do until we forget. Okay, so because of the thing that we applied globally, these all, um, they dim like all our other buttons, and we really don't want that for these or these menu buttons because they have colors and stuff. If we recall, we got this ionic styling, and we did this and messing with the opacity and having it transition and ease in and out. We can come here and just say the opacity is 1. Now it's silent and it doesn't do that. Does nothing on hover, which is how it would. Oh, it's supposed to show an underline on hover. It is supposed to do something. Okay. Okay. Well, so we just want to say that nav button hover. We're gonna wanna do something. I guess we can just move that here. We're gonna want to also underline. Let me just copy this. That's the same as selected. And get rid of our bottom semicolons because the last ones don't need semicolons. And now it does it. Okay, cool. So I think the last thing that we're missing for these bigger buttons is just a rainbow color. Obviously, we still need our little nav for phones and stuff, but we'll do that after we get our rainbow color. So, and we'll have to feed in that dark color instead of just having it being hard coded here. Um, Actually, I think we might already. Let's see, what did I do? And I'm sorry for the way that I speak. I am listening to the recordings and I keep referring to the old code as it or see what I did, or see what I do and stuff. And I'm not being very clear. So I apologize for the use of pronouns when they shouldn't be used, saying it when I'm being vague. And it is not helpful. So I am very sorry for that. Anyway, yeah, just text color. So we do already have something. So if you come to our nav buttons, come here, it would be nav button. This is a variable, not a string. Not falling for that again. So nav button dot text color. Okay, cool. So now we gotta do something from that, but we have to actually make our rainbow effect. Definitely not gonna remember how to do that. Yeah. So come here, we have a rainbow text.css. Let's just go ahead and make a new. Which one's smallest? Take this one. Copy it. Rename it. Rainbow text.css. Gonna go ahead and import it before I forget. Rainbow text. Okay, cool. So what is this supposed to look like? Okay. Got our class rainbow text that we will apply and some things that we're going to do into it. So we've got the background. This will be repeating linear gradient, 90 degrees. Got some colors and I guess it's not like I'm not gonna take these colors out. Uh, Okay, there. Fade background size 150%. Auto. I don't. I'm not sure. I've actually seen this. What kick help? I don't think that it's like necessary for Firefox or whatever. So I'll try not using it for now. Text. And this is clipping stuff out of the background, clip the text out. I guess I'll show how it is when you remove some of these things. That way we can actually see what each line is doing. I think that always makes it easier to understand when you know what happens when you don't have a line. Then the animation. And this is just a name, which is down here. You can name this whatever you want to, but I'm going to call it Rainbow Animation. Last 20 seconds. Linear, and it's infinite forever. Okay, and we can use keyframes. Keyframes, rainbow animation to eh, background position 150. Set entity start. Okay, let's see if we can actually use this class. See if it works. Or see if we did something more hard. Seems fine. We're here. Nav buttons are here. I'm gonna just try throwing out some text. Um, feed test class equals rainbow text. That's not quite right, actually. Yeah, not quite right. The whole thing's changing. See if there's anything else we did wrong that I did wrong. Am I saying Lee? Say you were an ion label. Shouldn't matter. I guess it does. I guess apparently it does, and I didn't realize that. Ha. Have I never used this rainbow text on a regular paragraph? Like ever? I guess I have that. Well, shit. Okay, well, learning something. But yes, this is the thing that we wanted. So now that we have that, we're going to just want to feed. And then we can go over the actual lines and stuff. So this needs to have a class applied to it. This class will equal this nav button dot something. Dot something. Okay, we go back to our thesis page for label class. Mm, okay, there we go. Now it's working. And now we've got our color in there. Cool. So that's awesome. So let's go mess with it. Before I forget, I don't think this is necessary. Um, so if we let's see, if you don't clip the text out of the background, you're just left with the background basically. And I guess these underscore underline effects. So you're basically clipping you basically have a background, and the background is a bunch of colors that are moving. And from that black background you clip out the text, and then that basically adds the color to it. Um yeah, the rest of this kind of a little explanatory, infinite. Let me see. I think it would just not continue, right? It would just have this and it wouldn't continue, basically. The sizing was just to get it just right, I guess. I remember messing with some of these values, just trying to get it just right in 150. Worked really well. Transparent. I think that makes the text transparent so that you can see the background. If it wasn't, you would see the color of the text, which is just black. But if you make the text, like this text is white, this text is black, you make the text transparent so that you can't see the text, which allows you to see the background that you clipped, which you clip the text out of, and that's how that works, I guess, if that makes sense, just to kind of explain that. Then you have your repeating linear gradient. Yeah. I guess that's basically it. So yeah, that is it for these buttons. We'll have to do our little nav bar. Can go ahead and do some cleanup and some stuff that we're just leaving and not using. I had mentioned that ion menu button and not needing it because we just need the nav bar. And didn't actually get rid of it. Okay, how's everything else looking? Those are indentations. Just do a quick pass because we're already approaching an hour. Just quickly, this ain't it's too much. Theme button. Oh, it looks fine. Okay. In the app, I know we still have this menu index, but I think we'll actually use it, but we probably don't need this ref. Glad that's gone. But yeah, I think we'll still end up potentially using that. Okay, well, at least it's looking better. But yeah, we're already approaching. No. Okay, about pages. What is this container? Am I in the right? This is the right project. What is this? So did I copy this from somewhere? I guess I must have. Yeah, there's no other containers in here except these. Yeah, I must have been copied. Just gonna get rid of the styling in the about page until I need it. I guess I did that for all of them. Oh, let's just burn that. Copy and then pasting stuff we're not even using. Okay, just making things a little cleaner. I don't know why this thing has a red line on it. Angry. Why are you angry? Okay, okay, I think that'll do it for now. So we will go ahead and work on the little nav bar in the next video. So we'll see you then.